Hey, good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing well out there. Rick and Dave are out today, so it's just me that's going to be here producing the show. But in the meantime, we do have an interview that we did conduct last week with Rita Smith, and there we talked, or Dave talked talked with Rita about the protests up in Canada with the truck drivers, and I hope you guys enjoy this interview. It'll run about 30 minutes, and then we'll go into weather, traffic, and safety after that. So enjoy. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. This is Drive Safe Dave, and we have a very special guest north of the border to get some of the great information that's going on. It's Rita Smith, publisher at roadwarriornews.com. She has got the inside information we need to know the truth. We've got to find out what's happening, how it came to be, and what's going to go on. But before we do that, let's get a little bit of information about Rita. Hey, Rita, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, Dave. Thank you so much.
Oh, perfect. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got it and how you evolved into this story.
Sure. It's an amazing tale, really, of me not expecting to end up in the middle of the storm, and here I am. That's fine. I can live with it. It happens often in my life. So, Dave, a year ago, I was writing for the government of Ontario. I had two members of parliament who were my clients. I'm a writer. I've been writing for 37 years now. That's how I earn my living. I've worked inside of every level of government, municipal, provincial, and federal. And I would like your listeners to understand that earlier in my career, 2006, 7, 8, 9, I worked at Health Canada in our nation's capital, in Ottawa. I was the Director of Communications for Canada's Federal Minister of Health. I was there during the period of time that Canada was recovering from SARS. You might remember SARS in 2003. People died. It moved really fast. Deadly infection. Canada was called upon to deal with it, and Canada did a good job of dealing. Well, they handled it at the time, and then afterward they did a ton of work to figure out how they could make sure that never happens again. That was SARS in Canada in 2003. I was at Health Canada 06, 07, 08, 09 while we dealt with the aftermath of SARS. Fast forward to 2019, I'm working inside the Ontario government as a writer. And I couldn't help but look around at the work, that the messages that were coming to us and the messages that it was incumbent upon us to share with people on the ground, voters, residents, citizens, was all lies. Like, it was all untrue based upon my experience at Health Canada in 06, 07, 08, 09. Our levels of government, all levels of government, were making insanely damaging decisions based upon no science whatsoever. None. Okay? So don't let, when people say follow the science, let me tell you, having spent 4 years at Health Canada while we recovered from SARS, while we wrote our pandemic preparedness plan, while we wrote our strategic risk communications framework to have ready for the next pandemic, no governments were using any of that work, any of that evidence-based work written by experts, shared with the globe, approved by all provinces. All that work just went right by the wayside. And what I was being called upon to do as a writer for the Ontario government was lie to the people, and about the dangers of the disease, about about the requirement for lockdowns, which has never been a requirement. Zero. Never in human history have we locked down healthy people. We quarantine sick people. We've never locked down the healthy people ever in history. This is the first. It's going to turn out to have been an absolute disaster. So I quit my Ontario government job. I couldn't stand the lying. I work, as I always have, with a lot of small business owners who were being forced into bankruptcy, who were losing their businesses, losing their homes. Their kids were losing 2 years of education, and I had to talk to these people, in real life. I had to actually talk to them, look into their eyes. And it was one of the taxi brokerage owners in Toronto that I've known her since she was like 12 years old. I said, Christine, I can't look you in the eye and tell you to do what the Ontario government is telling you to do. I can't look you in the eye and tell you this is good for citizens, good for health, good for business, good for the country. I can't do this. So I resigned both of my writing contracts with the Ontario government, because I couldn't stand the lying anymore. And I had actually put in an offer to purchase a newspaper called Taxi News 2 years previously. I have a long history with the taxi industry in Toronto, 35 years, been working with taxi. And while I was waiting for the publisher of Taxi News to get his administrative books and everything in order to sell me Taxi News so I could take it over so he could retire, I started looking around and I thought, wow, the trucking industry is really interesting. They have a lot of the same issues that taxi has faced, especially with the advent of autonomous and the advent of Uber, and then in trucking, they call it Drivers Inc., sort of business model for owner operators. And while I'm waiting for Taxi News to finish, because I can't use the name until I get it, I'm going to start looking around the trucking industry, and maybe I'll write some trucking articles. So I started doing that, and lo and behold, there's a lot of really interesting things happening in trucking, right? So eventually I did get the Earl to Taxi News. I got to dedicate the site. Essentially, it has now grown, it has evolved to cover all professional drivers. So professional taxi drivers, professional truck drivers, couriers, delivery people, ride share. If there are people behind wheels on roads trying to be safe, trying to earn money, I write about that. And so that's how I got to where I was when the convoy started in Canada. It's kind of like if you picture a long open road, I was standing right smack in the middle of that long open road, writing about the trucking industry with a giant background in government, 35 years background in government propaganda writing. I am a professional propaganda writer. That's what they pay me to do, okay? So I'm standing in the middle of this open highway. I look on the horizon, there's this convoy of trucks coming. Holy moly. I might either want to get with the convoy or get out of the road. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Well, it's possible that as me being the publisher of Road Warrior News, I might be one of the very few people in Canada who would launch a news site, roadwarriornews.com, to write about an industry, professional drivers. At the exact same time, governments at all levels are launching into almost fascistic, terrorizing propaganda campaigns to scare the snot out of citizens in order to make really fundamental changes to our democracy. All of this is converging at the same time, and I wake up now every day and read, wow, how is the government lying to people today? Let's write about that. And in the middle of all this, the truckers said, we're not doing it. This is a lie. This is BS. We're not doing it. So as a professional writer and publisher of their industry, my attention just swiveled. It's like, oh my God, these guys see through the BS government's been spewing for 2 years more clearly, more intelligently, more articulately than all of the PhD, master's degree, university educated government elite is the word. All of the high level mandarins who are trying to explain to Canadians, oh no, you need to lock down. Oh no, you need to keep your high school kids out of grade 9. Like that'll be good for that's better for their health. The media here in Canada, the doctors, a lot of the medical community, all of the bureaucratic government community, everybody who's in charge of telling you how to live your life is saying, yeah, the government line is the only line to follow. We must lock down. We must wear masks. We must get 14 vaccines. We must do all of these things. And the part of my brain that was at Health Canada when we wrote the pandemic preparedness plan that we're now ignoring, that part of my brain was just like, no, the truckers are right. The truckers have got it right. I'll pause momentarily so you can ask a question. I'm so thrilled to say the update, most current update, and I believe it is the front page of Road Warrior News today, because I haven't changed it since last night, is that a group of doctors, 3 of the most brilliant doctors in Canada, is led by Byram Bridle, Dr. Byram Bridle, a virologist from the University of Guelph. impeccable credentials. There's nobody in Canada and maybe on the globe who knows more about vaccines than he does. They have challenged the government officials, the chief public officer of health, the national vaccine initiative. They have charged Teresa Tam, Howard No, and Diane Deeks to a debate this Friday in Ottawa, where all the truckers are. They've challenged them to say, bring your evidence and show us on what you base the lockdowns, and we'll show you our massive background in clinical science and evidence-based medicine to rebut any reason that could have been for these mandates, for these lockdowns, for these school closures, for these mask requirements. You bring your evidence and we'll bring ours and we'll have a debate. So they've offered to do that on Friday afternoon, February the 11th in Ottawa at the Marriott where all the truckers are, okay? So hopefully that is actually in fact going to happen. The government scientists are going to need to accept the invitation. And if they don't, I guess Dr. Bridle and Dr. Hodgkinson and Dr. Alexander will just be talking to open chairs in a Clint Eastwood kind of a way. But these doctors have lent their support to the truckers. Paul Alexander is on tape and straight into the camera. The truckers' instincts are right. The truckers are right. The truckers have got it. Okay? There is no evidence to support these lockdowns, to support these mandates. Now, government, you come and prove to us that we're wrong. So I'm going to pause because that's a lot in 10 minutes. If I do, I'll just finish that segment by saying the truckers by the thousands, by the hundreds and by the thousands, and the supporters of the truckers in the millions of Canadians who are in support of the truckers. I was on the bridge with them. -40. Oh my God, it's the coldest weather I've ever stood on a bridge in Canada. It was so.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. Cold.
It's like you're out in the middle of an Alberta clipper, standing in a field, the wind whistling by. It was the coldest day that I can remember in 40 years of living in Canada, 50 years of living in Canada, and the bridge was packed. That bridge was packed. The next bridge was packed. The next overpass was packed. The roadways, the highways, the hills, the embankments were packed. Canadians support the truckers. Canadians believe. So as the doctors say, the truckers' gut instincts were right. This is all BS. Okay, it's all baloney. It's all based on lies. And we don't know why. I don't even want to go why. I don't want to go there. What's the motive behind all this? But what I can tell your listeners is what I knew working at Health Canada on pandemic preparedness for the nation and internationally in 2006, 7, and 8, when we created the pandemic preparedness plan, is not in any way, shape, or form what has happened in Canada for the last 2 years. And the truckers, not the doctors, not the teachers, not the parents, truckers said, this is baloney, enough of this. And they organized. They have done an absolutely phenomenal organization. It's like a military movement, to get 1,000 trucks to leave Vancouver and drive to Ottawa in winter. Look at the map, how far that is. Map, across Germany like 100 times by the time you can get from Vancouver to Ottawa. The logistics, the finance, everything required for truckers from Vancouver to head to Ottawa, while truckers from Nova Scotia headed to Ottawa, while truckers from the north in Ontario, Timmins and Kapuskasing, Kenora, Algoma, the far north, like you're getting really close to the Arctic Circle when you get that far north. French truckers from Quebec. Canadian separation has been obliterated, the whole thought of it, by the unity between the French truckers and the English-speaking truckers. They're all celebrating together in Ottawa now. They want these mandates lifted. They are not buying the baloney from the politicians. Justin Trudeau can say whatever he wants. Teresa Tam can say whatever she wants. Howard No can say whatever he wants. Bill Gates can say whatever he wants. The truckers are going, nah, no, and we don't think, we're not buying it. You guys roll this back right now. They cannot be, their brains cannot be hypnotized. The truckers, God bless them, they cannot be hypnotized by the political and media classes. And so the clash you're seeing in Canada right now, where the rubber meets the road, is straight up common sense, Canadian common sense from professionals who drive for a living to the elite class, the political class, who deal only in words. They deal only in words. They think that if they throw enough words at the truckers or at the citizens, we'll buy it. And the truckers will go, nah, we're just going to park here till you figure it out. And that's what they're doing. And I love them.
Yeah, you know, it's been pretty remarkable. We see videos, images, and small news clips of the roadways and the blockages, and in downtown Ottawa, the massive amounts of trucks and their support going on. The story released this morning, which was very interesting. The tow trucks have refused to go tow the trucks out. They've actually banded with the truckers and said, hey, you know what? We're not interested in towing those guys either. I mean, we're not going to do it either. It's very interesting what's going on. And I guess really, tell you what we love here is the driver. The drivers that you've spoken to, the ones on the ground doing it now, where are they? Because I'll tell you as a driver, if you're not moving, you're losing money. And they're to great expense to themselves and their own fortunes. They're doing what they consider important. What are they saying to you?
Well, I think it's fair to summarize by saying they realize this is now or never. They're the truckers who are spending their own money, their own time. Some of them have brought their own family members, keeping company on the road, sleeping in the sleeper cabs and eating food that's there for them in Ottawa. They see this as now or never. They understand that if Canada rolls over and allows Justin Trudeau and his government and the provincial governments to, there's a saying that says, if I can make you believe absurdities, I can make you commit atrocities. So if these truckers, somebody had to stand up to the absurdities. It turns out to be truckers. They know that this could cost them everything. They're reminded of it every single day. Politicians are now saying their licenses should be pulled, should be fined thousands of dollars a day. This could mean bankruptcy. Well, COVID was going to mean bankruptcy anyway. This could mean loss of employment. This could mean a tremendous amount of, they could lose their homes. This could mean a tremendous amount of sacrifice, and they would rather do that. They say it over and over again. They would rather do that than watch Canada become Venezuela or Germany before World War II. You know, the Canadians are pretty proud of their parliamentary government. They see what's happening in Australia, which Road Warrior News covered pretty extensively in August. They see this as the last moment slipping away. And they don't want to have to say to their kids, well, yeah, when we lost our democracy and now the system that you're growing up in, the social credit system, we saw it coming and we did nothing. None of the truckers that are there in Ottawa, none of the organizers, none of the families that are supporting them are afraid of losing everything. They're afraid of living in this nightmare fascist world where government gets to tell them what to do and what they have to take in their bodies. And they're actually using their bodies and their trucks as a shield to prevent that from happening. I think I mentioned in one of the earlier emails where I explained to you, I can come on your show, but not to talk about trucking as a business, you know, a profit-making business, return on investment, driver training and safety. That is not what is any element of this conversation. This is, if you compare it to the American Revolutionary War, the truckers are our Minutemen. They're the Minutemen. They're the militia. They're the thin, noisy line, with all the horn honking, standing between passports to eat in a restaurant. Do Americans understand that? If I want to go to a restaurant in town to pick up a burger, I have to show a passport that has digital QR code from the government that shows I've been vaccinated. I don't have one of those, so I only get to go to the restaurants that don't ask for them illegally, and I know who they are, and they know who I am, and we have our own little thing going on. Government hasn't persuaded everyone, but So I think the truckers, when the doctors say the truckers' gut instincts are right, these are the smartest doctors in Canada, the heads of their fields, epidemiology, evidence-based research, evidence-based medicine. They're saying the truckers' gut instincts are right. And thank God that they are. Thank God they can't be snowed. Thank God they don't buy the lies. Thank God they can't be spun by politicians who have an unlimited budget to spin, the lying, the propaganda. Are you aware that in Canada, our government made it legal for the federal government to give money to the media? And our prime minister even makes jokes about the fact that, of course, he gets good coverage. He paid $600 million for it.
Oh my goodness! You know what? Yeah, we. Let's. Yeah, we want to squeeze.
Turn on the news. If you see a clip from CTV or Global, or God forbid the CBC, which we refer to as the Communist Broadcasting Corporation and in government media, if you get a clip from one of them that says anything about the truckers, it was written in the Prime Minister's office. It's the approved key message of the day. It's distributed to the news media. They read it. News. It's not news. It's straight up government propaganda. Straight up government propaganda. No, and we've just tuned them out. Canadians have just tuned them out. They're very, very pouty about that too. Even to the point that when they show up to cover events, God, there's a fabulous of an Eastern European immigrant who fled communism, shouting at a global reporter, "Why are you lying? Why are you telling lies? Why are you telling lies?" The global reporter being so disconnected from reality in the 20th century, 21st century history, started to argue with the woman who left communism and came to Canada. She's saying, "You're not telling the truth. Why are you lying?" And this 20-year-old, like, tell this escapee from communism what's what. It's insane. Like it's insane. So
hey, Rita,
the truckers are risking everything to save Canada, and we're very grateful to
them. We see this in the news. We see what's going on, and my question to you, really quickly, my question to you, because we only have about 4 or 5 minutes left. My question to you is, where are we going from here? Where do you envision, or what do we envision this is going to, the outcome that this is going to have? Seriously.
That's a really good question, and all the news is good. All the news is good. Let me tell you that. Don't listen to any media reports that tell you the truckers are getting no result. I'll give you 3 spectacular results, 4 results the truckers have gotten in 4 weeks, and you can see where this is going to head quickly. Before the truckers came to Ottawa, and by the way, there's always an open lane. The truckers are working with cops to make sure traffic isn't delayed. There's always an open lane for emergency vehicles and so forth. The cops and the truckers are working together. So don't on the traffic elements of this. Don't worry about that. Nobody's at risk by blockade. Since the truckers arrived in Ottawa, the province of Quebec, which had announced it was going to tax you, Dave, me, the province of Quebec said, if you're not vaccinated, we're going to levy a tax on you, and it's going to be significant. So let's say they come up with a $5,000 tax or a $10,000 tax
that they're
going to levy on their citizens who aren't vaccinated. Be assured that once they get the digital IDs that they want everybody to have, they're going to take that money right out of your bank account. Right? Like they're going to garnish your bank account. You're not vaccinated, we're going to take everything that's in your bank account right now, up to $5,000 if that's what the fee is. So Quebec announced that they would be doing that, okay? Much to the hatred of Quebecers. The truckers arrived, and the truckers started musing about sending a convoy over to the Quebec legislature the next day. Quebec killed the idea of the vax tax. Their premier stood up and said, no, we're going to cancel that idea. There's not going to be a vax tax. Okay, so the truckers didn't need to go to Quebec. They could stay in Ottawa. That's so great, because it's warmer in Ottawa. The province of Saskatchewan, the first week of the convoy, announced that they would end all mandates. The province of Alberta, at midnight last night, just a short 9 hours ago, Alberta lifted their mandates, passports, their masks, I think, are going to end on Monday. So that's Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec they're getting rid of their mandates. Okay? Could this have happened in December? Might this have happened in March? All that could be possible. When is it happening? Right now, while the truckers are in Ottawa. I think that the truckers definitely should be taking credit and declaring victory on that. Last night, Tuesday afternoon, fantastic thing happened yesterday afternoon. And that is that one of the liberal members of Justin Trudeau's government, his own member from Quebec, held a press conference. He read the most intelligent, articulate, balanced, reasonable statement. I wish I had written it. Absolutely fantastic assessment of the situation. And he said, Justin Trudeau's, my government, the government that I am part of, is wrong. What they are doing is wrong. The mandates are wrong. They're dividing our society. They're hurting our people. This would be the equivalent of somebody in Joe Biden's government. This would be the equivalent of like AOC holding a press conference and saying everything the Democrats are doing is wrong. Okay. So yesterday, a really intelligent man, a lawyer of integrity, read, and the media covered, a mammoth statement on why the government that he is a part of is wrong. Okay, it's a beautiful piece of writing. If you could, I could send you the link. It's a beautiful piece of writing. So now we have, and also Aaron O'Toole, the conservative leader, got written on it. He wasn't doing a good enough job opposing Justin Trudeau. He was not doing his job as Her Majesty's loyal opposition. He wasn't taking a position. He was so mealy-mouthed, he couldn't make a statement for or against the convoy. He's gone. He's gone. He's not the leader anymore. They had a meeting. They voted him out. We're going to get a new leader in the Conservative Party. So the man who was giving Justin Trudeau a free ride is gone. He paid a high price. He paid a high price for not being able to make a clear statement. Okay? So Quebec has lifted the vax tax. Saskatchewan lifting the mandate. Alberta lifting the mandate. Conservative Party leader is gone. Not a minute too soon. And a very intelligent, articulate liberal held a press conference and said, my government is wrong, and they have to stop this.
Rita,
so all of that was caused by the truckers. Every bit of that caused by the truckers.
That's amazing. And we're going to continue to follow the story, and we're going to continue. We're going to come back and ask you this. We're going to invite you back to give us more details of what's going on. But before we go, I want to say thanks for letting us know all this. You know what? I didn't know many of the things that you had said. I've only seen, the regular news line, the news byline. I appreciate all the information that you give to us. If readers want to contact you or listeners want to contact you, how do they reach out to you?
Email me at roadwarriornews@rogers.com.
Say that again.
roadwarriornews@rogers, ROGERS.com.
Okay, and they can send you a pic, they can send you an email to contact you and to find out more information.
Send me an email, I'll give you a call. Yeah.
All right, great, fantastic. And you're going to come back and let us know more of this story, right? As it develops later on, when we get more of this, we get some more inside information from our boots on the ground.
We're really hoping to hear that Joe Biden is going to take seriously the letter from your 150,000 independent truckers at UIDA, asked him to lift the border mandates. And if Biden lifts the border mandates, Canada has to. We have no choice. So on the day when Joe Biden says, yeah, why not lift the mandates? It'd be better for business if we did, and it won't impact anybody's health. On that day, let's do a call, and I'll have a cake with a candle with sparklers. And we'll celebrate. I think that'll be great.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to try to do our part on this side of the border to do everything that we can to support the truck drivers out there and what they do. We truly believe here that nobody is safer out there inside the cab, isolated in their own bubble, better than a truck driver. Through this they have shown that they are the heroes through this pandemic, and they continue to demonstrate their heroic endeavor throughout this entire cause. Rita, thank you so much for being on. We appreciate everything that you have brought to the table. Do me a favor before you go. Say your name and say BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
This is Rita Smith, and I'm proud to be with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Thank you. We love you, Rita. We will talk to you again soon. Appreciate you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. I am Buckle Up Bob, and we're going to get you all started off with the phrase that pays. All right? And the phrase that pays this week is make intersections safer and avoid a ticket from a cop. Slow down and always be prepared to stop. Again, make intersections safer and avoid a ticket from a cop. Slow down and always be prepared to stop. You know, what we mean by that, folks, is, in the research and the dangers of intersections, you have to, one of the number one recommended things by all safety organizations, AAA, the Federal Highway Association, all those are now telling you must approach these intersections with the intent to stop. And again, that's what we got to do. And again, we're going to go over our topic this week, which will be about that. But first, we're going to get you started off with a little bit of traffic. Again, we're going to start with DFW area. Got some issues. 80 has some problems on the westbound side, as does 175 as you come in to the loop. Up here by Garland, we have problems on the west or northbound side, however they call that. I'm going to assume it's westbound direction on 635. And then again, as you cross the turnpike here and you go in, tollway, not turnpike, as you come into Farmers Branch. We also have our typical problem on 30 eastbound going in between 820 and 360 in near Arlington. And typically the 35W northbound lane coming up from Burleson as you approach the 20 merge point. We've got problems there. And then north of the 820 loop on Fort Worth, as you go out towards Oklahoma and you get up by the Alliance Airport up there, you will have some slowdowns as well. So just be patient, right? Increase your space, slow your speed down. Don't get in a hurry, folks. Pack your patience. As we go into Houston, right? We go look at here. 45 looks good coming from the south. The loop looks pretty good. We got a little bit of problems here on the tollway here heading eastbound, as we do at number 10, Highway 10, just inside 99 by Katy, Texas. And again, 45 coming both directions a little bit here, just outside the tollway. You might have a little bit of a slowdown there, but the loop looks really pretty good. So you want to stay on the loop if you're in that Houston area this morning. As we go into Kansas City looks great. 35 looks good north and the south side of the city. 70 looks good on the east and the west, as does 29 and 49 coming up from the south. You look really good in Kansas City this morning. Be careful. Again, yield that right away. Chicago looks great. We got nothing across the state line here. 80-94 looks good. 80 looks good on the Illinois side. 355 loop is excellent. 55, no slowdowns until you get inside Lyons and Summit, Illinois. And then 88 looks good, 90 looks good, and 94 coming from the north, also no issues. Your 355 loop and inside 294 loop all look great going around the city of Chicago this morning. So great job there. Atlanta looks not too bad for Atlanta, I guess, right? The loops look all pretty good. I mean, it's the normal things, right? Tom Murphy Expressway on 20 there, just outside the 285 loop. You have some problems all the way back up from 6 to the loop. On the north side, we always got a problem from 85 to 75, and that is no different this morning. 19, the southbound lanes has a little bit of a backup, and then 85 always has an issue all the way back to 316. But again, it kind of breaks up once you get here close to Hyde Park and Norwood. So again, the loop is the way to go. Stay south. And just remember, folks, if you're driving out there, if you're new to the industry, you cannot drive through the city of Atlanta. You must take the loop around. It is a state law. As we move up to our next city, Nashville, again, 24 is always an issue. No problem, or same as, no different, I guess I should say, today. All the way up to Antioch. You get a little of a break in Antioch, and then the southbound direction has a problem. But then the northbound up at Bakerstown, again, you'll start to see some backup. 40, 24 merge looks a little bit a problem spot this morning. Not a really bad area, but just kind of normal rush hour traffic. And then again, 2465 loop looks great. The just normal southbound direction, you're going to have some problems. But otherwise, 40 looks pretty good. A little bit of a slowdown on the eastbound side here, running parallel to 70, right before you get to the 70 crossover, 40 and 70 crossover. But otherwise, Nashville, you look pretty good this morning. As we go into Baltimore, Baltimore is a mess, right? We got 795 issues coming southbound. We got 83 southbound coming into the loop, 695 around Baltimore. And it is stretching all the way from the east, all the way around the north to the western side, almost all the way to Arbutus, Maryland. So again, you've got some really major problems in the D.C. area on the loop. As you come down and connect into the, I'm sorry, that was Baltimore, not D.C. As you come down 295, you have some issues again down here by Laurel and also up here by Lenox Park. And then as we get in the D.C. area, it's not as bad as Baltimore, right? A few little areas, always up here on the Four Corners is a problem, but the south looks really good. A little bit of a problem here on 95 by Seabrook, all the way down to Ritchie and Greenwood Manor. And then inside here, 201, 295, we have some problems from Mayfair and Kenilworth, all the way back up to Bladensburg. So you're going to have a little bit of problem inside the loop, but the loop itself looks really good in the D.C. area. I mean, there's just not a lot going on. A little bit of a problem back here on 66, right as you approach that 495 loop. But, folks, you got a pretty good commute this morning going on in the D.C. area. Baltimore, not so much, but D.C. looks good. As we get into Philadelphia, as you approach the New Jersey Turnpike, 42, 55, it looks like there, the merge point there has a little bit of a backup. Camden, you have a little bit of a problem. But otherwise, it's just a typical 95 along the river from Mayfair all the way down to Port Richmond. You got a backup, and then the Turnpike looks really bad. It's backed up past Conshohocken all the way to King of Prussia, all the way back up to 76. And the 422 there at King of Prussia. The 476 loop is pretty good till you get down here, down by 1 by Pilgrim's Gardens. You're going to have a problem in both directions on 476 all the way down to Swarthmore and 352. So Philadelphia, you got some rush hour issues this morning. Slow down, increase your space, and pack that patience. All right, as we move to Indianapolis. Indianapolis looks really good. 70 is clear all the way passing through on both sides. All the major highways coming in look pretty good. A small area here between 40 and 74. You've got a little bit of a backup. That is on the southbound direction. So all in all, looks really good for your commute this morning in Indianapolis. The airport looks great. All right, hey, all right, big thing again, folks. We are back on with some weather issues, right? So we're going to get you started. Let's just get right into the nasty stuff so you know when to prepare for it. And it's going to be around Wednesday, folks. So right now, not too bad. You can see it moving in from the west out there a little bit. And then as Tuesday comes along for our rush hour, you can see pushes into Idaho, Nevada, right? Parts of California. It starts to get into that Wyoming area on Tuesday. And it continues to push through all the way on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we should start to see it. Oop, got to go a little bit later than Wednesday. All right, go ahead and update here. Doggone it. It was pushing through this morning. Looks like it might be a little bit delayed here. There we go. Oh, it went back on me. Might be having some, there we go. So Wednesday, you can see it starting to push into Denver. And then we see a rain out in front of it. Some rain start to pick up in Kansas City all the way to Chicago. But this rain is going to get ugly, folks. You're going to start seeing that ice. Again, we've got an ice band that's going to come through Kansas City, Missouri, Iowa, all the way up to Chicago. This is going to be about Wednesday evening, so we're going to keep an eye on this. As you can see, the heavy snow behind it. And we'll look at what that new snow is supposed to do and see just how deep. But then on Thursday, you can see from Detroit, St. Louis, all the way down. Here we are on that I-44 corridor again. So come Wednesday, evening, Thursday morning, we're going to have some ice stretching on I-44, so it's probably going to be off limits for most of you out there driving. That it's just going to be too dangerous. And you can see it stretches all the way through Illinois, up into Indiana as well. As we go through Thursday, it pushes through Indianapolis. You can see Ohio. So this ice pellets, as the brown, continues. And then the snow behind it, it's much like a carbon copy of the system that hit a couple weeks ago, right? You had that same diagonal band, and you had the heavy snowfall behind it. And then on Friday, it pushes into the New England states. Still got some ice coming through Pennsylvania, West Virginia, right? And then on Friday morning, that is, and then Friday afternoon, it kind of pushes out. So let's just see what we're going to get for new snow, what it calls for. So here you can see the next 3 days, which is probably going to be worse than that. And then St. Louis, the 3 inches. Detroit, 4.2. Right? And it was 5 inches. So the big story again is not going to be the snowfall. It's going to be that ice. Denver, you're supposed to see about 4 to 5 inches. And we'll keep an eye on this system. It doesn't quite look as bad as the one before, but it is going to be bad. We're going to expect some really crappy situations for about 48-hour window here from Wednesday and Thursday into Friday. So be ready for that as we move in later on this week. As we look at our winds, right, we'll today, not much going on with the winds. A little bit out here in the Northeast, starting to push in the 20s. We had a really bad Saturday, but got through it. Again, tomorrow looks pretty good as the winds. We got a system here coming into California. And there, come late Tuesday, we're going to see a lot of wind along the south here, right? You can see Kansas City, 36. This is all, again, out in front of that snow, right? And the ice we're supposed to see start to develop late Wednesday. So right ahead of that is this system that's going to create some winds, and we'll probably see the temperatures go with them. And there you go. So you can see 11 a.m., 44-mile-an-hour gusts. So likely going to be in the 50s gusts there. Kansas City down to Oklahoma City into Dallas. So we're going to have some travel delays. Chicago, 38, 36. So again, these are forecasted winds. It will not be surprisingly to see them in the 40s, which means you can't move empties, drivers. It is too dangerous to move empties in 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So again, you're going to have some speed restrictions. You should see them as well. Some states are going to ban commercial motor movement. There, look at that. Wow, it really gets bad in New Mexico. You can see down in Mexico itself as it pushes through. And then kind of comes up, weakens a little bit as it comes inward, but still going to be some dangerous winds all through the week. Let's see what it does to those temperatures. And there you can see it. Just, again, this is that leading edge right where that ice is going to be. You can just see the angle does exactly what it did a couple weeks ago. So this is Thursday at 6 a.m. Here's Wednesday, right? It starts, we're above freezing. So again, what you really got to watch for on this is warmed up enough. This is going to be one of those where the bridges and the overpasses are going to be really bad and secondary roads. So as we look at Thursday, after this thing starts to push through, you can see right there in that line where we said St. Louis, right? Detroit, all just below that freezing mark. And then on Friday, it warms back up. So again, this should be about a 24 to 48 hour window only. And again, you're going to have to watch refreezing, of course, at night. But I don't think this is going to be quite as bad as 2 weeks ago, but it's still going to be dangerous enough where there's going to be some restrictions, I'm sure, in place, folks. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with some safety. Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. It is Buckle Up Bob here, BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. And this week we're going to get back a little bit on these intersections. We're seeing more and more videos. So drivers doing some great things, by the way, on those videos. But it just, again, reiterates how dangerous all these intersections are. And so we're just going to give you some of the things that the AAA, the Highway Associations, Federal Highway Association, they attribute that what has to change at these intersections is driver behavior. Because we all know that these accidents are caused by somebody doing something they're not supposed to. So the driver behavior, and again, this is not about fault. If we know there's a high risk of fatality and serious injury at these intersections by somebody else running a red light, then our behavior has to be more defensive, right? As this becomes a more prevalent problem and more consistent, because we see more and more videos of other vehicles, impatients, running these red lights, right? And so they say, AAA and the Federal Highway Association says, you know, changing driver behaviors are critical to protecting life at these dangerous places, right? And they list the number 2 driver behaviors is being prepared to stop, and then managing or observing the stale green, right? Monitoring that situation. We talk about it all the time here on the show. You've got to look and see that, man, if you've seen that thing green for 4, 5, 6 seconds as you approach it, it's going to change, right? Monitor that and then slow down. Don't hope it stays green. Don't plan for anything but it to change. And you do that by slowing down and preparing to stop. So they both kind of go hand in hand. And we need all the drivers out there. If you're going to help the industry and you're going to protect life, remember, we got to shift the focus, you know, versus from fault to preventing them all. Because at the end of the day, we don't want anybody to die. Nobody wants that. And so we have to do what we can on our part. And we do that by slowing down and being prepared to stop at these intersections. They are dangerous, folks, especially on these lights. We see it all the time, and we'll see it today in our videos. Speaking of our videos, we do have some here to go this morning. And this first one, again, you know, here's an accident, right? Looks like a bad one, vehicle on its side. Remember, you have to slow down. You have to move over if available. Great job of this driver in allowing other cars to get over if they wanted. But great speed here, you know, just managing. And it looked pretty bad with the debris. And then at the very end, you can kind of see it there over the car, roof of the car on the shadow. But there it is. It's on its side. So just, man, hopefully everybody was all right in that one. Here again, you know, you got the weather, right? Make sure, you know, it's time to maybe look to get off here. I can't hardly tell, but the roads don't look great. But great speed. Being able to stop, right? Remember, it requires at least a 50% reduction. If the speed limit is 50, it's 25 now on snow and ice covered roads. And we're going to hit that again Wednesday and Thursday and Friday in most of the states at some point. All right, here again, we got lots of cars turning, right? Just make sure that, again, great speed management, great space management here. You know, we talk a lot about how dangerous these are because of all these side streets, driveways, tree lines, right? They all hide stuff sometimes. Great job going slow by this driver, keeping that space, and allowing all this traffic to just sort itself out ahead of him or her. All right, and again, we talk about the stale green, right? Being prepared to stop, you must. Great job by this driver, right? And that, again, impatience, impatience, impatience. So, again, this is what you have to do. This is the behavior that you have control over. And that's just slowing down and being prepared to stop in case somebody's going to run a red light and cause a bad accident. And do we got the other one? Oh, we did not get it. Okay.
We do have it,
Okay.
Bob. If you wanted to play it, we
Yes,
can.
I would like to play that. We won't play this all week.
Do you want the audio with that?
No, we don't need the audio. We will later when we talk about this particular segment of this, which will be tomorrow, actually. But, you know, so much going on, and this could have been so much more worse.
It's the shocking video.
If we can get it up there, but
Yeah,
just
we got
watch this video. Here's a pedestrian, 2 of them. I mean, that's a different outcome if the accident hadn't occurred. It was just crazy. But folks, this is all the stuff that goes on, right? You've got all these things to think about. And so really, this happened in Phoenix, but what you can do is, if you're prepared to stop, right, then you can help in these situations, because this is what can happen. One guy running a red light and another car coming from the side, and then, and then there's pedestrians. So you've got nighttime, right? You've got impatience going on. You've got somebody running a red light. You've got pedestrians crossing. So again, as we talk about these intersections this week, we're going to talk a lot about not just drivers, but, some statistics. We're going to talk about pedestrians and cyclists, right? You've got to be looking out for all of them. And then, folks, if you're one of these pedestrians or a cyclist and you come up to an intersection, we're going to give you a few of the tips that they recommend that you must do to help ensure your safety. Things that did not happen by the pedestrians in that video. So this is one of those videos that we're going to show all week at the end of our other videos, so that we can talk a lot about, or maybe we'll do it at the beginning. We'll figure that out, but it just goes with our topic this week. And just about everything in there is going to have some form of relationship to one of our topics on one of the days, or a statistic. So again, we really need everybody to slow down at these intersections. You've got to pack your patience, as we say, and you must slow down and be prepared to stop. If it is yellow, you should be able to stop if you're preparing to stop, right? If it switches to yellow, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so we need you to make sure that you are being safe out there. And these intersections are no joke, folks. They are the most dangerous place on the roadway, and we'll share some of those statistics a little bit later. If you've got any comments to make about our videos, again, videos were down for us a little bit because everybody's doing a great job. We got to show some really good ones. Raise your hand, a producer will call on you. But just, folks, I mean, these intersections, we talk about, every topic we've talked about has one common theme, and it starts with slowing down, right? We talked about backing up, a few weeks, or last week, and it was, you've got to slow down, get out more than once, be patient, right? Take your time in making that decision. Same thing with turns, left and right. You've got to slow down and do them turns slowly. Don't get in a hurry because, and let's face it, the only time you're in a hurry is usually because there's a light, right? You're trying to beat it and get through there. Hey, if that light, that's another reason to be prepared to stop. So now you can make that turn much, much safer and protect life. And we need that to happen. We got any callers there, producer?
No, not no one yet. Okay. Mr. Donald Scott said on that first video that there were actually 3 cars involved in that.
Wow.
Oh, wait, we got a hand raised, Mr. Daniel Bass.
Hey, Daniel.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just wanted to speak up because Saturday we couldn't get through to you. I think you're doing a wonderful job, Bob. Appreciate your job. Appreciate what you do for us.
No problem. And it must have been, I'm not sure what happened on Saturday, but might have just been the area the guys were in. But Sunday we did get everybody on and was able to hear them. So, yeah. And folks, if you're experiencing difficulty getting on the show, I need you to try to get routed here, and let's figure it out with your phone and make sure that's not the issue, okay? So help us out with that, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that got on. I know we changed the time a little bit on Sunday. So, again, great job, everybody. Great job on the videos. Hey, folks, again, keep it going. We've got to help the industry, right? Drivers out there, watch your backing, right? We shared last week where a driver was killed. Don't forget to set the brakes. Go through a checklist. Do that checklist twice as a minimum. It's almost like, with all the chaos going on out there in your profession now, you have to do everything twice. In other words, you got to get out and look twice. Start your backup, get out, you get out and look before you start, back up, and right before you're ready to make that into the slot or the zone or the dock, Get out and look again and make sure that you got the right angle, that you didn't overcompensate or miss or undercompensate for something, right? Turns. Make sure the intersection is clear. Make sure nobody can come up on you when you're making a turn, right? Do that. Take that extra, when you stop and think, if you take that extra 30 seconds to a minute of precaution, it can save you hours, right? And so you just have to do it. Hey, we're going to close everybody out with a quick little prayer this morning. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we have some just some tough things going on in this world with pandemic and mandates and restrictions and rules. And Lord, it weighs on all of us, Heavenly Father. So Lord, we just ask that we continue to keep our eyes fixed on you, that we turn all this anxiety and pressure over to you and not take it out on one another, Lord. Let us be humble hearts, Lord, tender and kind hearts, Lord. Let's treat each problem and each trial with kindness and humility, Lord. Remember the hearts. Everybody's heart is in a good spot, Lord. We just need to remember that, even though our words and our actions may sometimes fail us. Just remember, Lord, help us remember that we can do this with your help and your guidance, Lord. Keep all drivers out there safe, Heavenly Father. It's in your Son's name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. Hey, everybody. We will be back this afternoon at 2:15. So be ready there, and we will see you all a little bit later. Thanks, everyone.